What up, y'all? It's your man, ES the Hermit Star, back again with another video. Do not mind the mess behind me. I am packing, or at least trying to pack and do other things at the same time. So, yeah. Anyway, so this is the Lionsgate reading. I decided, for the Lionsgate, let me do a general read for a collective read for, you all. And, yeah, cool. Should be an interesting one. This being the 8-8 portal. I know a lot of people think about this time as like just a lucky moment, especially during today, it being August 8th. Personally speaking, I think we create our own luck. Now, do I think things happen to people out of, let's just say, happenstance or what one would consider luck? Sure, I do think things like that do happen, for sure. But I think ultimately when we want to create any outcome that we want, whether it's in love, whether it's, for career or anything of that matter, it's what we do that determines what happens with that situation. And not everything that we do is going to get the outcome that we want. Obviously, sometimes you do things, or, even oftentimes, maybe you do things and you're trying to work things in a particular favor and they just don't fall in that way, I understand the frustration of that. But again, ultimately, like I said, like if there's love that you want, if there's anything that you desire, sitting around waiting for God, the universe, or somebody to give it to you I don't think that's how you should go about achieving that. You should do everything within your power to actually get that desired outcome. And then, of course, there are other things outside of our own personal power, and that is up then to the higher power to execute. All right. And if it doesn't get executed, then I've said this before and I'll say it again, like we could plan all we want, but what's meant to happen for us will happen. If it's not meant to happen for us, whatever, for that moment or just in general, yeah. You want to push back against that energy, go right ahead. I, personally speaking, would not. But anyways, we have 6 cards here, again, in collective read for this Lionsgate portal. I'm going to start with the tarot and then, of course, get into the oracle right afterwards. All right. So speaking of lions, we start with, and we're in Leo season, and we start with the strength card here. Which is great to see. As I was saying, like we create our own luck. We create our own, if there are certain outcomes that we want, and this is how we go about it. Having that compassion for ourselves, but having that courage to go forward despite what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Despite how messy things might be looking, you still have that strength and compassion for yourself, and again, that courage to go forward with it. So, I really do like this energy here. I'm not gonna lie, I like what we have here. All these cards, you'll get to them, you'll see them. The next we have is the Ace of Cups. Now, this is a love of an activity, more so like a love of maybe just something you're passionate about, like let's just say a career goal of some sort, right? It's not a love of an individual, but I will say the love is in the air. It's not even just love, again, with whatever you're passionate about. But it's great to see this because, again, it just shows like there is energy of success. And today is really it just seems like the day for anybody in the collective who can identify with this, to really tap into your energy of I'm gonna say this, and you can feel however you want to feel about it, but like really tapping into the God in you, being able to tap into that creator aspect of yourself to create again what you desire, whether that be a personal career goal or personal goals you might have, or within your personal relationship or romantic relationship. You know, we Libra just entered Mars, I believe, on the 6th. Okay, and we know that Libra is the sign of love. You know, it's not the only sign that it's about love and stuff, but you know, they're lovers and stuff. So I think that especially with the focus of this Lionsgate portal today and just the Lionsgate in general, I think a lot of what is going to be focused on is just love, whether that's self-love with the Strength card, love of, and Strength card just fell, love of something that you're passionate about, right? Something that is beyond you, beyond your personal relationships. But also, it's not that that's the only form of love that's happening. Again, have to block it because, you know, nudity, but the Lover's card. So there is definitely a very strong love presence, even just within the first 3 cards. Again, that Strength card is on the ground right now, but, you know, very strong love presence here. And I'm enjoying it. I'm liking what I'm seeing right now. Like I said, I like the entire spread, if we being real, you know. Next, we have the Queen of Pentacles here. So this is someone who is financially secure, someone who is very nurturing as well, someone very mindful, you know. So I'm seeing, again, a lot more love of self, a love of just care and passion that's pretty much in the air today. Like, honestly, like, today's a great day to just pour into yourself, pour into what you desire. I'm seeing a lot of, like I said, just a lot of just, how much can I say love in this damn reading? But no, for real, like, it's a lot of love happening, but it's a lot of just not denying how you feel, not denying how you feel about yourself, not denying how you feel about maybe your career goals, not denying how you feel about someone else, or even desiring love, you know. And I think that's a great thing to see, because we as in society nowadays tend to believe we're too hard, you know, where we don't feel these mushy feelings, or we don't have desires for personal connections. Okay, we also tend to pretend like, you know, if there are issues that we have within ourselves, we don't have these issues, and we put on this fake when I say we, if it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply, but be honest with yourself, right? But we tend to put on this fake just bravado about ourselves, that everything is all right, we're perfect, nothing's wrong with us, we don't want a partner. And then what these cards are revealing, it's like, oh, nope, actually, there are times where we're going to have to tap into the Strength card, because we need that extra boost of strength to let us know that, you know, things are, we're not, excuse me, we're not truly, you know, we're not always, let me just say, not truly, but we're not always happy with who we are. We're not always happy with where we are in life, but it's still here to remind us that, you know, as long as we continue to have the courage to go forward, as long as we continue to just have that love for yourself, be honest with yourself, really just living our truth. I'm seeing, like, that's what I really want to say here, is just living in your truth. And, you know, good things are to happen for those who are just being their genuine true selves, even if it's moments where, again, you do feel insecure. I don't see that at all here, but I'm just saying, if you are somebody that's like, well, I never had the best of luck, try just being genuine and real about the dark times, especially, right? Because it's easy to celebrate the good times, but when we're in unsatisfactory moments in our life, I'm not speaking for everybody, but you know, sometimes it could be a situation where we're not being honest about how we feel about our current circumstances, and then that dishonesty is blocking our blessings. Just be honest with yourself. Don't be critical. You know, again, the Queen of Pentacles is someone who is very nurturing as well. So you can be honest and nurturing to yourself about, again, if things aren't going the way that you want it to go. Don't just put on some facade that everything is fine. Yeah, you know. We'll continue with the Empress here. This is more nurturing, creative energy here, giving life to either life. I think not even just either. I think that it's really just birthing, because remember, this woman is pregnant. The Temperance is actually the only pregnant card in the tarot deck. So there's actually 2 lives in this card, although you only see one. But you know, there's this individual is creating life, creating something. So let's give life. Let's give life to the desired outcomes that we want, whether it's for our personal goals, again like that Ace of Cups has showed here, or you know, our romantic relationships, as the Lovers card shows here. If you are in a romantic relationship, I'm gonna say, at least for advice, is to really just, I'm not saying it's time to create a baby. You decide that. I don't do predictions over here. Like, it's literally just, if that's something, all I'm gonna say is, if you want to start a family with your partner, maybe this won't be a bad time. Forget what the economy is saying. Forget what your friends are saying. Forget what, you know, when I say forget what the economy, I mean the news. Forget what the news is saying. I don't be oblivious to how the world is. I understand that, you know, but if the news is just fear mongering, people in your life are just fear mongerers, you know, who are subjected to the news and victims of the news is fear mongering. So they want to go on and fear monger with you and stuff. But you don't need that shit. You know, you don't need that shit in your life. If things are going well, again, I'm speaking to people who are in relationships. If things are going well within your relationship, and this is something you've always wanted to start, you wanted to start this next level, whether that is conceiving a child, right? You know, the process of conceiving a child, you know, having sex, you know, you know what I'm saying? But no, whether that is creating life, or whether that could be taking the said next step, whatever that is for you and your partner, I'm gonna say, again, take it with a grain of a pinch of sugar and 2 pinches of salt. All right. But I'm gonna say right now is a great time for you all to, you know, get busy. You know what I'm saying? But if you're single, this is definitely a great time to put yourself out there. Put yourself out there and to have faith that things are going to benefit you. Because even if you put yourself out there and let's just say you don't, you know, you're shooting your shot at people in the street or whatever you're doing to put yourself out there, and you don't really get a response back, it's better than not putting yourself out there. And I feel as though doing that, it's how a lot of people actually build up confidence. You know, again, that Strength card is here, you know, it's how a lot of people build up. Let me pick up these cards real quick. The Strength card. All right, so boom, Woke showed up reverse. Ugh, it fell reverse, but it showed up like this. All right, I didn't even know it fell reversed. That's crazy. That could be a sign for someone's wavering confidence. But you're here now, so I'm here to help guide you through all of that, all right? Because even if it is showed up reverse, it's the only reverse card here. Well, no, it's not the only reverse card here. We have the Hangman in reverse, which is pretty much the standing man, is what I call the Hangman in reverse. Alright, this card is actually reversed, not the strength card that fell in reverse and stuff. This one actually showed up in reverse right now. And the reason why I believe that energy is here, and if you want to take into account with the strength card in reverse, for one, I was saying something before I was gonna get into the hangman in reverse. And what I was saying to all the single folks out there, even if you do put yourself out there and nobody responds in a way that you wanted to, it's how people build up confidence, you know. And eventually I think that confidence is going to make you a better individual. And you know, because confidence is attractive. Both men and women love a confident partner, and I mean actual confidence, not this fake bullshit confidence that you see on the internet, not the fake bravado stuff. Like I said, we're talking genuine confidence. I can tell the difference between a genuinely confident individual and someone who is clearly putting on an act of being confident. All right, very easy to tell for me. Don't know how y'all work, but you know, for me, I can tell the difference. And yeah, from what I've seen, a lot of folks, both online and offline, yeah, it's a lot of that fake confidence that they think it's going to be a fake it to make it type situation. That doesn't always work. You know, this is not your damn job. Like, this is not your job where you can just pretend like you get along with everybody just so you can continue elevating. Nah, this is something much deeper. You know, when we're talking about spirituality and reality, honestly, reality outside of some fixed reality is what I call a fixed reality. Is, you know, things like you have to put on a certain way to get ahead. I call that fixed reality. All right, so there's reality and there's fixed reality. That's probably some other video I can do some other time. I'll probably do a podcast episode about that. But when you're talking about spirituality and reality, not fixed reality, none of that fake it to make it shit, it works. There is no faking it to make it. It's either you're going to exude the genuine confidence or the genuine feelings that you have, or you're just not, right? So that hangman in reverse really is just, I feel as though, a reminder to us that if we truly want these things in our lives, we're going to have to make moves, okay? You know, we're going to have to make changes, positive changes. Let's not be fearful of the unknown. And I don't see the moon card here, but I get, like I said, I get readings, and I now watch other readers, and I can't speak for everybody else, but me personally speaking, I've been seeing the moon card a lot with the readers that I've been tuning into. Granted, they were just reading for the sign of Virgo, but you know, I do feel like that moon, that unknown energy, whether this is applicable to a Virgo out there, or, you know, a Leo, or anybody for that matter. This is a collective read that I'm doing, so take it as it resonates per usual. But ultimately, like I said, I do love this spread that we have here. You know, it's pretty much go for the life that you want. You want that relationship. You want that success. You want that confidence. You want that financial freedom. Go for it. Go for it. You know, spend time and create that outcome. Again, don't sit around looking at other people saying they're lucky to have the love of their life. They're lucky to be financially sound. They're lucky to have that dream job. They're lucky. No, they're not lucky. They went out and they did the work. You know, they didn't just stumble across, you know, their love of their life. Even if it may sound like I just saw her or him from across the way and I decided to, you know, walk over and say something. That's work. That's work. And then that's not even enough work. But that's the beginning stages of something. Clearly, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're looking at a couple and you're like, they're lucky to have what they have. I'm here to tell you, and they would tell you themselves, it was work. They had to put in work in order for them to have the thing be what it is at this moment in time. If you see someone with a dream job, whether it's your dream job or they're living their dream job, right? If it's not the same as yours, they had to put in that work. You know, so all this stuff is what I'm saying. And once again, you're saying, oh, you're looking at other folk and saying they're lucky to have X, Y, and Z. Like I said, I'm not saying things don't just happen to people, but I'm a firm believer that people create their own luck. All right? Meaning there are things that they do to get the outcome that they desire. And again, it all really starts with just having that courage within yourself that you're able to go after and succeed. All right? And whatever you're trying to achieve. Okay? So that's what I have for the tarot. I'll get into the oracle right now. Let's see what oracle message or messages that God has for us. But before I choose a card, I would like to remind you to please hit that like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please do all of that if you're going to be subscribed, of course. And we got 3 cards that jumped out. So our first card is Protected. That's what I like to see. Find solace in safety, knowing you're sheltered and guided through life's storms to calm shores. Nice. That's our first card. Second one, Standing Strong. Let's see if you can see that, Standing Strong. With defense as your shield, find strength in preservation, guarding what matters most. Before I go move on, that is definitely like the type of energy we're on right now, like just very much going toward what matters to us. Again, as I was stating, don't go listening to the news or people in your life and trying to tell you what should matter to you or what does matter to you. I think we're in a time right now, you know, you take the retrograde that happened a couple weeks ago. You take this fact that we're living in the age of Aquarius. You take the fact that we're in Leo season right now, approaching Virgo season. All of this energy combined, and probably even more situations that I'm forgetting, but those are the ones that come to mind. All of this has to do with what is real to you. What is of value to you. Not anybody else but you. So really just take that, stand strong. Take all the advice I'm giving here and the cards and stuff if it applies and you feel as though it resonates. But definitely with that stand strong card, once again, just what matters to you is what matters. And not what matters to anybody else. Now those things might align, as they often do, but there are times where they're not going to align with the people in your life or just others in general. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with them. It simply just means what matters to you matters to you. What matters to them matters to them. All right. The last card is Trust the Process. Embrace uncertainty. Have faith in the journey unfolding before you. These 3 tarot cards pretty much summed up like these 3 oracle pretty much fit and summed up the 6 tarot cards that we got here. But yeah, that's what I have for us today as far as the Lionsgate portal. How does this resonate with you? Let me know in the comment section below. If you haven't hit that like button, please hit that like button before you leave and go about your day. Interested in checking out other videos, check out wherever the video pops up of the last collective read, and subscribe if you feel compelled to subscribe. All right. Until next time, until next video, you see me when you see me. I'm gonna go clean up this mess. All right. Peace.